The New England Patriots have set their initial 53-man roster ahead of the NFL season, but on today's show, I want to talk about the potential players they could pick up on the waiver wire on Patriots Today by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Allie Barefoot, and I think the Pats' initial roster looks solid. I gave it a good B. However, could they improve in some certain areas? Absolutely. So could these waiver wire players help them in the depth chart? We're going to talk about that and break down 3 players that I have in mind. But before I do that, I just want to ask you guys one quick question. Which position should the Patriots target on the waiver wire specifically? I'm going to go for the offensive tackle, specifically the left tackle. We know that Verdarian Lowe has had a little bit of a torso injury. Caden Wallace is a rookie. Is there a veteran out there that maybe won't start for the Pats but can help in the depth chart? Let's talk about it. First things first, if you guys are just looking for a good little definition here as to what the waiver wire is, I just wanted to provide this because I know there's a lot of terminology that can be a little bit confusing. So pretty much what the waiver wire is that teams have until noon Eastern time to file a claim for any player released in the roster cuts. New England is number 3 in the waiver claim order, which matches where they positioned in the 2024 NFL Draft. That means if the Patriots claim a player, they will be awarded that player. If they go unclaimed by any of the 2 teams with a higher waiver priority than the Pats, which are the Bears and the Commanders. But Jerod Mayo also spoke on Monday morning saying the starting guard or the starting tackle may not be on the team today, talking about having that number 3 position on the waiver wire, which is huge for the Pats because I don't necessarily think the Bears and the Commanders are going to go after the exact same thing the Patriots may. And this is not just you pick up one guy, then it goes back around like the draft. When it hits number 3, the Pats can pick up as many players as they absolutely want in one sitting and just take them off the board for anybody else that comes after them. But like I said, I'm looking at that offensive tackle position. So the first player that I did notice get cut earlier today, and I thought, he could provide a little bit of expertise at that left tackle position is Geron Christian. He was recently waived from the Tennessee Titans. And with Christian, you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt because, once again, we're not looking for any starters. We would, but you're not going to really find him in the waiver wire. But McGarvin, said if you're looking for a realistic OT option, Geron Christian is probably a guy worth noting. He's a former 3rd-rounder, started 9 games in Alex Van Pelt's offense in Cleveland, which is the asterisk there. He already knows how AVP works when it comes to his offensive structure. And he played well, as you'd expect for a backup OT to play this preseason. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't think Christian is the best offensive tackle that's out there because, personally, the 9 games that he did start kind of sucked. But the Patriots also do not have a flourishing, beautiful, glamorous offensive line anyways. And pair that on with some injuries, you definitely want to make sure that you've got guys that know the system in your depth chart. But how about this? Taking it straight from the Dallas Cowboys, Josh Ball. Josh Ball, who was actually a surprise cut for the 53-man roster for the Dallas Cowboys. He worked his ass off in the preseason, as you should, and he actually played 65 snaps in the preseason as well. And the one thing that I loved that I saw from Josh Bell, and I didn't watch too many Cowboys games in the preseason because I only want to watch the Patriots, 0 sacks allowed, 0 hits allowed, 1 quarterback hurry, and PFF gave him a 92 run block grade. That sounds like music to my ears, and that sounds like a guy that if he's willing to fight for his spot on the 53-man roster for the Dallas Cowboys, why can't he come into this structure and fight for a starting spot? Jesse Haney, who is a reporter and covers the Dallas Cowboys, talked about Josh Ball earlier this month in August, talking about how he's versatile on the offensive line. Last week, Josh Ball played guard and was the Cowboys' highest-graded player, according to PFF. This week, Dallas gave him another look at left tackle. Left tackle. We like that position, and it was the best he's looked in that role since college. That is music to my ears because as of right now, Verdarian Lowe is dealing with a torso injury. Caden Wallace, he's a rookie. Sidney So left preseason week 3 in a boot. Michael Jordan isn't even my favorite player to make the 53-man roster. So if you could have somebody that can play a guard and a left tackle, that would be huge for the Patriots. Even if he starts out on the depth chart and maybe works his way up to the starting 5, I am 100% on board with that. My next question here for you guys is, who should the Patriots pick up for offensive line depth? Do you guys know of any offensive tackles or offensive guards that got cut by their team for the 53-man roster? Let me know in the comment section down below. Before I tell you guys about my last contender for a waiver wire pickup for the New England Patriots, let me tell you real quick about our sponsor, which is Factor. Factor is a fresh, never frozen meal service that I 110% trust because it's chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, which is the option I always go for, and Keto. And it's also ready to eat in 2 minutes, delivered right to your door. And look, we work long days here providing you guys with as much content as we possibly can. And I want to make sure that I have enough time to eat healthy and not just stop by McDonald's after work every single day. That's why I love Factor because, yes, it may be ready so quick, but it's actually good, nutritious food. And you can make your day look gorgeous from breakfast to dessert. Stay fueled with easy, nutritious options. Treat yourself to restaurant-quality meals that feature premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, blackened salmon, which is my go-to. Your girl loves anything seafood, so I am all over the shrimp and blackened salmon. Stay out of the kitchen, guys. Stay out of the kitchen. Go on ahead, order Factor, and you can do so by heading to factormeals.com/patchchat50. Use code PatchChat50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off yours next month. That's code PatchChat50 at factormeals.com/PatchChat50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Let's make it spicy. Kadarius Toney, you are a New England Patriot, according to Allie Barefoot. I think the Pats have been trying to get a wide receiver that's got a little bit of juice behind their name, but I will be fully honest. I think Kadarius Toney is kind of butt. He's not my favorite wide receiver in the NFL, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. But here's why I think the Pats will at least try to acquire Kadarius Toney. Look at the history in the preseason. Look at the history in the offseason. They tried to go for Calvin Ridley. Boom, he signed with the Titans. They tried to trade for Deebo Samuel ahead of the NFL draft. Boom, he re-signs with the Chiefs. Then you try to go, 49ers. And then Brandon Aiyuk. You try to sign him, and you go through everything to the point of extending an off route, and he declines it, and he re-signs with the 49ers. Elliott Wolf is obviously trying to get a wide receiver. That's why I think he's going to try to get Kadarius Toney. Do I want him? We'll talk about that in a minute. Here's what PFF said about possibly having Kadarius Toney land in New England. New England's number 1 wideout, Kendrick Bourne, is on the PUP list to start the season. Demario Douglas didn't catch a touchdown during his rookie season in 2023. And Jalen Polk is an unproven as a first-year player. Toney hasn't materialized in his first 3 seasons with 2 different teams, including with Patrick Mahomes throwing in the ball, which if you don't materialize with Pat Mahomes throwing the ball, who the hell are you going to materialize with? Yet, maybe starting from the ground up with the Patriots offense is what he needs at this point in his career. And I appreciate that. I do. But honestly, I've said this before, even when it came to somebody like Brandon Aiyuk, see what you have in your rebuilding wide receiver group so far. It does suck that Kendrick Bourne's on the PUP, but Jalen Polk to be an unproven first year, I don't agree with that. I think Jalen Polk has a very high ceiling. I think you've allowed other players to also step up. If you want to take Kadarius Toney, I think it might jumble up with the chemistry that you have already created in your wide receiver room. Kadarius Toney has been known to have a little bit of an attitude problem. He has been known to just not really mesh well with the teams that he is on, and that's the last thing that you guys want. Now, if you really do want Kadarius Toney on the team, I can definitely find some pros in it for sure. But the man hasn't received over 400 yards since his first year in the NFL. Let one of these guys do it. That's why I'm kind of against Kadarius Toney coming to the Patriots, but I may be really far off. But I'm the host of Patriots Today, and if you guys don't agree with me, that's totally okay. That's why we have this channel. Should the Pats sign Kadarius Toney, type Y for yes, type N for no. We will keep you guys updated with any waiver wire moves that the Patriots make, and as always, all you have to do is hit that sub button for me.